Well, welcome to the Canes Corner podcast, live here on YouTube. I am Adam Gold, and thank you very much for making us part of your evening, your ride home. We have people driving back to wherever you're headed, points east, points north, west. I don't know. Some of you have been around since Greensboro, I'm told. So, welcome to the Canes Corner podcast. And it's all brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina on Hamlin Road in Durham. No place like it. Sammy Hanner's crew do a great job. You should check him out. Actually, shouts to Lori. I know Lori. You don't, but that's okay. We have a professional relationship, and she is having the Aluminum Company out to do railings. They do everything. Okay. All right. Enough said. Let's get right to it. Hurricanes 3, San Jose nil. Teuvo Teravainen with all of the goals. Antti Ranta with all of the saves. There was a lot of good tonight, but I will say Carolina played 20 really good minutes, and then the rest was just cardio. I didn't really think, I'm not saying Carolina was bad because Carolina wasn't bad, but I just think that it became a non-threatening game. A lot of that is that Carolina really can just control play, but and there were chances for Carolina to extend. You know, Andrei Svechnikov had a couple of really good scoring chances. Jordan Stahl had one right out in front go off the edge of the skate of Capo Kakinen and then off the post. There was a chance early for Jesperi Kotkaniemi on just a breathtaking end-to-end weaving in and out rush by Martin Necas that Kotkaniemi couldn't finish. Michael Bunting had a great chance to score. Sebastian Aho probably had some scoring chances, but there's something not quite physically right with Aho. I didn't think that his heart was in shooting tonight. So maybe there's an issue there that's been leading him to not taking as many faceoffs, although he did take a few tonight. We'll talk about faceoffs in a minute. But basically, this game was over when Carolina scored twice in the first. Teuvo Teravainen made it 3-0 with a beautiful goal in the third. And the beautiful part of it was really the pass and the Teravainen awareness to fake the shot. He realized he had time to do it, and he made the motion to shoot, and Kakinen went down, and Teravainen just pulled the puck back and then snuck into the empty net. Both of his first goal and his third goal were basically into empty nets. The second one was an absolute bullet from above the right faceoff circle. So he was great. Carolina had a lot going for them tonight, although it was kind of a quiet game for the last two periods. Andrei Svechnikov returned. He had missed the first 8 games coming back from the ACL tear surgery. He hasn't played since March 11th. I thought there was a lot good for Andre. He delivered some hits. I think the total numbers for Svechnikov, 1340 of time on ice. He committed a penalty, which means that Andre is in midseason form. He had 4 shots on goal, missed the net 3 times. Maybe the best scoring chance was one that missed the net. It was a kind of an across the grain try. He tried to wrong foot the goalie, but he just missed it wide of the net. Other best chance was blockered away by Capo Kakinen. So I thought Andre was right on it. He had 3 hits, a couple of takeaways, a blocked shot. It's a good night for Andre Svechnikov's first foray back into NHL play. So a lot of stuff I want to talk about tonight. And again, it's a Friday, man. So I don't know. Enjoy yourself. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. And we'll go through comments here because I know there's a bunch of you already out here that want to want to make some comments. And I apologize. I always like to say hello to our viewers in Australia. We're huge in Australia. So to Mikhailov in Adelaide and to our friend in Perth. I guess Brent. I think Brent is in Perth. No, Brent's in Adelaide. I got more than one person in Adelaide. Get out of here. Saturday, 1 p.m. That's Adelaide because for some ridiculous reason, they're like it's like 14 and a half hours ahead. Explain that. All right. We'll worry about time zones another time. Theme of tonight, because San Jose is really, really, really bad. They have no wins and they have 8 goals in 8 games. They are 0-7-1. So let's not spend too much time talking about the game tonight because Carolina was always going to win it. So let's talk a little bit about opportunity. We talked about this at the start of the season. With Andre missing the full road trip and the first game, obviously, and then the first game of this brief 2-game home, it created an opportunity for Teuvo Teravainen to play his way into Carolina's top 6. Because I don't think there's any doubt that based on what we saw last year, Rod Brind'Amour was going to start this season. Michael Bunting was brought here because Bunting is kind of a he's a gritty player. He operates around the net, very physical, has a scoring touch, and has familiarity playing with top players. He played with Austin Matthews last year and the year before, scored 23 goals each year, and creates enough, space around the net where it should create opportunities for your top players. So the plan all along was to play Bunting with Aho and Jarvis. Kokaniemi was going to play with Natchez and Svechnikov. But with no Svechnikov, it created the opportunity for Teuvo Teravainen to play his way into Carolina's top 6. 7 goals in 9 games plays your way into the top 6. And now, and we speculated about this, so now Carolina has 3 scoring lines. They should. And the Jordan Stahl, Jordan Martinook, Jesper Fast shut down checking line identity line. And I will borrow that from the New York Islanders with their Cal Clutterbuck, Casey Cizikas, with Matt Martin, whatever his name is. So that's the way they're set up now. They're set up with 3 scoring lines. But before, we didn't know that was going to be the case. And chances are it was going to be Jack Drury with Teuvo Teravainen and Steph Nason. But with Teravainen playing his way into the top 6, I just don't see Rod taking him out of there. Because everybody understands this about Teravainen. It was a missing piece last year. Teravainen is a conduit for almost everything Carolina does. Teravainen is great on the power play. His ability to pass and see the entire ice. He can pass from the point. He can pass from the half wall. Obviously, the shot is elite, right? We saw it. We see it all the time. He's just more of a playmaker than he is a goal scorer. I understand 7 goals and 1 assist in 9 games says otherwise, but we all know what Teuvo Teravainen is. He's part of the penalty kill, right? He's the other half of Sebastian Aho's brain at times. And we've all seen how those 2 guys work together. So when Teuvo Teravainen had such a tough year last year, it impacted Carolina in so many different ways. It's a reason why Carolina's power play was bad. The penalty kill was great because Carolina has 70 guys that can kill penalties. They have guys right now who are not killing penalties that absolutely can. Speaking of the penalty kill, Seth Jarvis taking the first shift basically every time with Jordan Stahl and taking a defensive zone face-off to start the penalty kill. He did it last night. He did it tonight. Now, I don't remember what happened on the first one last night. He lost the first one tonight, but that is Rod Brind'Amour trusting Seth Jarvis. Remember, he didn't even start killing penalties until the end of last year. Martin Natchez was a good penalty killer for a lot of the year last year. And then Seth Jarvis just moved into the spot. Natchez can kill penalties. Carolina is loaded with penalty killers. Stahl and Jarvis, Aho and Teravainen, Martinook and Fost, right? They've got so many guys that kill penalties, not to mention a defensive core that is built to do it. Brett Pesce, when he's there, Pesce and Shea and Slavin and Burns and Chatfield, they've got 5 legit guys who can kill penalties. Dmitry Orlov doesn't have to worry about it here. Right? He can do it too, but he don't have to worry about it here. They got 5 guys who can do it. Tony DeAngelo is a good enough skater where you can get away with Tony killing some power play time if you have to. They don't really need it because they've got a bunch of other guys. But if Chatfield's not in the lineup and somebody else in the box, I mean, I don't think DeAngelo's the choice, but get away with it because he really is a very good skater. So Jarvis has kind of developed. This is more about opportunity. Jarvis has stepped into that role. And he's got 4 goals. They came in back-to-back games, 2 goals apiece. But tonight, the vision, the passing, pass to Teuvo Teravainen for the first goal, right out in front. I don't know how many players, I don't know what percentage of players would have turned and tried to stuff it home. There's nobody on him. There's nobody physically pushing him off the spot. He's got the puck right in front of the net. But you know what he does? He understands that Teuvo Teravainen's got a better opportunity. Teuvo takes it and flips it to the empty net. 1-0 Carolina on the power play. Where does Seth Jarvis like to operate? Because he's a hulking figure of a man right out in front of the net. Second goal for Teravainen was a great pass from Orlov, diagonally across in the left point over to the right faceoff circle, and Teravainen just timed it beautifully and just ripped it right over top of Kähkönen for 2-0 in the first period. Third goal, another great pass from Jarvis and the awareness from Teravainen to fake the shot, pull it back. Kähkönen's down and out. Easy goal, 3-0. That was it. Carolina didn't need more, although there were opportunities, right? There were opportunities to score. But Teravainen has stepped into that void, and he has cemented us in the top 6. So now it leads to another opportunity. And here this is. And I don't know how long Jack Drury's got. Jack Drury's going to have to produce. Either that or his line is going to have to produce, whether he's on the score sheet or not. That line will have to produce because right now he's playing with Andrei Svechnikov and Steph Nason. That's a scoring line. I don't care who's centering it. That is a scoring line. So Jack Drury is going to have to drive that line, or at least direct that line. Andrei Svechnikov would drive that line, if you will, really. And if I'm guessing right here, Svechnikov isn't going to spend a lot of time out of your top 6. I mean, heck, by Monday in Philadelphia, he might be playing with Jesperi Kotkaniemi and Martin Necas. And remember, those 3 guys were aligned for a good chunk of last season, and probably it was the most productive Kotkaniemi was last year playing with Necas and Svechnikov. And a couple of weeks later, Svechnikov hurt himself against the Vegas Golden Knights. So, but even if Michael Bunting is playing with Steph Nason, that's a scoring line. Jack Drury is going to have to be able to get those guys the puck where they can do damage. And I don't know how long Jack has to prove it. I don't also know who would be there to take that spot. I know people that are very high on Vasily Ponomarov, but we haven't seen him play at this level. He didn't play a preseason game because he got hurt the first day of training camp, and that was that. He's still not ready to go. I really don't think the Hurricanes look at Ryan Suzuki as somebody who can do that. But Suzuki skated yesterday before the Hurricanes did not have a morning skate yesterday or today. Suzuki skated. At some point, Suzuki is going to be sent to the minor leagues. He's still in a yellow non-contact jersey, and he's pretty fragile. I don't believe they look at him as an option. But it wouldn't be the craziest thing we ever saw if they decided that a former first round pick was gonna get, "Hey, you know what? Let's give you a couple of starts and see what you do playing between 2 guys who can score in Bunting and Nason if that's the 4th line or if that's the 3rd scoring." So Jack Drury has an opportunity here to make himself an NHL player. Is he up to it? Is he ready to grab that? And if he's not, Carolina right now is building salary cap room. And when we get to a point where Carolina can determine, all right, this is what we need. Right now, if I'm looking at it, I think the Carolina Hurricanes need a center. Now, that center could be somebody to play high up in your lineup, or it could be somebody to play just gritty 4th line minutes. But that is a story. So my guess is Carolina, whoever they look at, if it's not Jack Drury, it's going to be somebody who can be on a scoring. I keep floating this. I keep getting pushed back, so I'm sure it'll never happen. But I just don't know why you wouldn't reach out to Eric Stahl. But nobody else has, so maybe it's not going to happen. And maybe it shouldn't happen. I don't know. But the Hurricanes, at some point, if Jack Drury isn't going to be a productive player, the Hurricanes are going to have to find somebody at that spot who will, because they've got the room. And this is the year. This is going to sound like I'm fed up, but I'm not. For years, Carolina has not pushed their chips into the middle of the table. And it's a fundamental disagreement. I think if you're in it and you're good, you can win it. And Carolina really hasn't made their team better at the trade deadline in any year except the one that we went to bubble hockey when they added Brady Shea purely out of necessity. Let's understand the circumstances there. Dougie Hamilton and Brett Pesci were both hurt. They had to go out and get a defenseman who could play a lot of minutes. Brady Shea was that guy. Brady Shea was playing on a 3rd pair with the Rangers, and the Hurricanes got him. Honestly, they hated his contract when they got him. Shea makes more, I believe, than Jacob Slavin does right now. It was right about the same. Um, Shea has been superb here, absolutely superb, to the point where, I mean, you almost consider Brady Shea part of the core. But anyway, they went out and got Brady Shea out of necessity. Vincent Trocheck, they were dumping Eric Holla, dumping him. Lucas Wallmark and some other pieces really weren't good fits. The biggest part of that deal was Eetu Luostarinen, who was a pretty good 3rd line winger for Florida, or at least was. I don't know if he's haven't seen the Panthers yet this year, but he's a good player. But that was the biggest part of that deal. But Vincent Trocheck was very good for Carolina, but that was more like, we got to get Eric Holla out of town, and we're accepting Vincent Trocheck because Florida didn't want his contract anymore. Vinny turned out to be a good player for Carolina. I always thought he was more of a 3rd center than a 2nd center, but he played number 2 center here. Anyway, my point is that the Hurricanes have not yet, not ever, at the deadline with a chance to win it, strengthened their team. And this is the year where you gotta do it. You owe it to Stahl and Aho and the head coach and Pesci and Shea, the guy, and Teravainen, the guys who might be having their last kick at it here. You owe it to them. I went on a complete rant about that. Had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Talk about a tangent. And I'm going to get to your comments here in a second. So, opportunity for Teuvo Teravainen, opportunity for Jack Drury, opportunity that we didn't even know was presenting itself to Seth Jarvis, but it is. Good for Antti Raanta tonight to play well, very well. 20 saves, had to make some really good ones. Tough night to do it because the opportunities were so sporadic. Carolina utterly dominated the first period. The best, I mean, it's San Jose, so I'm not gonna say it's the best Carolina's looked all year. 40 shot attempts to 13 for San Jose, 40 to 13. They didn't even really have to resurface the ice in front of that goal after the first intermission. Um, so those good things. Um, was it an awesome night? I thought even though he had 2 points, I didn't think Aho was great tonight. Again, I think he is battling something with his upper body that we have to get through, that he has to get through. I don't have to get through it. He does. So there's a lot of things that Seabass is going to have to kind of fight through, I think, to get to where he wants to be. They're off this weekend. They'll be in Philadelphia. Philly's off to a good start. But Carolina's got 2 wins, and now really, let's go 8 really good periods in a row. Or maybe 9, because I thought they played well in Tampa. Not great, but they played well in a difficult environment against a great opponent. Carolina, when you look at the third period, I think could have had a couple of goals, and maybe that game turns out different. All right, so let me run through some comments here. Patriot Eric Stahl offers nothing. Hope we stay away from him. That is flat out freaking wrong. He doesn't offer nothing. If you watched him play last year, he was very good for the Florida Panthers. He played in a specific role. He played on the fourth line, killed penalties, he took faceoffs. He's a big body. Scored some goals for them. He had a good season last year on a professional tryout, and he went a long time without doing anything, and then he had a good year. So wrong. Drury has been fine. Same guy. Even without points, he's making an impact. Nah. Jack Drury has been okay, but okay isn't it. I want Jack to succeed. The team wants Jack to succeed, but the opportunity for Jack is here today, and he has to take it. And if he doesn't take it, it's going to go to somebody else. He's going to lose it to Ponomarev. I don't think it'll be Suzuki. Can't stay healthy. I don't think they look at him as a legit NHL player. Unfortunately, the eye injury does matter. But the Hurricanes don't have a center in the minor leagues. They don't. So, but I do think they'll make a trade if they have to. I absolutely think they'll make a trade if they have to. Let's see what else we've got. Complete game against the winless team. Yes, it was. Um, no, I don't think it was the most complete game Carolina has played this season. I thought their most complete game was the one they just played against Seattle. I thought it was their best game. But that's I mean, I guess beauty is in the eye. But I think Seattle's really good, and I think San Jose is really not good. So there you go. Yes, it is. It's not Sunday in Australia yet. uh, it's tomorrow. It's tomorrow. It's actually almost next week. When do they turn the clock back in Australia? I really don't know. We're also apparently big in Kuranbong. I don't even. That's a great place to live. I would love to live in Kurangbong. Cheers from Tacoma, Washington. Going to miss Canes after dark. Sure, because you're watching the Canes in the middle of the day when you're in Tacoma, Washington. A couple of things. I mean, we didn't really talk about Andrei Svechnikov. I guess I think Andre was very good tonight. You knew he was going to have a ton of energy. I liked what I saw. He had plenty of chances to score, and that's just going to get better. And I thought Carolina, first of all, the first power play, Carolina's first power play was you can't get better than that. They won the power play faceoff, and I think they had four, yeah, 4 shots on goal and one that missed the net, and they were all good shots. They were all good scoring chances. In the first 40 seconds of the power play, then San Jose cleared the zone, and then Carolina brought it back in, and it was the same unit that stayed on because they had just done so well, and it was only about 30 or 40 seconds. Kept that unit on, and it led to the goal. It was as good as it's going to get, the power. There were puck retrievals. That's what Carolina did really well tonight. I thought they hounded the puck. They got the puck back a lot. There were a lot of steals. Again, San Jose isn't very good. All right, this is a good question from Matt. What do I think is going to happen offense when Brett Pesce back, assuming we are 100% healthy then? What I think is going to happen is that I'm guessing here, this is not what I would do. What I think is going to happen is that if Tony DeAngelo is playing well, Tony DeAngelo will stay in the lineup, and Jalen Chatfield will go back upstairs. They still look at Tony DeAngelo as the power play quarterback, number one power play quarterback, and I understand it because Tony is great at that. And if Tony's game is what's good, then he should be able to play with Orlov because Tony is a very good skater. You just got to hope that he dials himself back a little bit in terms of jumping in. Dmitry Orlov cannot recover. And that's where, for me, I'd rather see Jalen Chatfield play because I know Chatfield's mindset is going to be, I have your back. Tony plays the game even more aggressively than Dmitry, and it's hard when both of your defensemen are doing that, and only one of them even has the ability to get back. Tony's a good skater, but I wouldn't call Tony super fast. Chatfield's fast. Tony is incredibly agile side to side. Jalen Chatfield can recover. I don't think Tony can. So to me, it's not a great matchup, a pairing, D'Angelo and Orlov. But if Dmitry dials himself back a little bit and is a little bit more careful, then it can work. But again, that's not entirely his game. I think Chatfield's a better partner for him. But I think that Rod will probably use D'Angelo because of the power play numbers. And I think D'Angelo's an elite power play guy. And I think you saw tonight, by the way, that it will be Brent Burns as the only defenseman on the second power play unit. Svechnikov went into Orlov's spot. And Carolina's got two very good power play units now. It's not like last year. We saw some weird things on the power last year, man. Carolina wasn't very good. They did have Gostisbehere quarterbacking the second unit, even though he's probably better than Burns at quarterbacking. Burns is quarterbacking the second power play unit, and that's got Svechnikov, Bunting, Mason, and I'm forgetting somebody. I shouldn't forget somebody. And Kokaniemi. That's a good power play unit. It's got guys who are good in front of the net. It's one thing. Yes, Barry Kokaniemi is excellent at. Same with Stephen Mason. Guys are good in front of the net. They're good at retrievals. So, two full units. There's no dead wood on those power play units. So, and they're going to go to one defenseman on each, which I think is the right thing to do. Although at the end of the game tonight, you saw DeAngelo and Brady Shea quarterbacking or the two defensemen on the power play. But also at that point, it was the Stahl line out there in the power play. I don't think you're going to see the Jordan Stahl line get a lot of power play time. So again, there's so much time, but I think that's the way they'll do it defensively. Brett Pesce goes right back to where Brett Pesce was. But right now, this is the beauty of having 7 NHL defensemen. They're missing one of the best defensive defensemen on earth, and it doesn't really look that way. Tony DeAngelo and Brady Shea, I think, have pretty good chemistry. They're familiar with each other, playing with the Rangers. They're friends, good friends. And I keep saying this. Tony is one of the smartest players I've ever seen. And if Tony can dial it back, I think Tony can play with anybody. We know what he did with Jacob Slavin, right, 2 years ago. So Carolina's got the best problems. There's nobody with the problems that Carolina has on defense. All right, that will do it for us. I appreciate all of you in Tacoma, in Australia, and wherever else you are sampling this podcast. Kane's Corner podcast brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. If it's for the exterior of your home, you can find it at the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Siding, roofing, windows, entry doors, storm doors, gutter helmets, railings, awnings. You got it all. They do decking. Yeah, a little decking. Very nice. Um, one bit of housekeeping, and this is for advance purposes. There are games coming up where Dennis Cox will actually be hosting Stormwatch and Aftermath, and it is to be determined whether or not I will be able to do a podcast after those. It has nothing to do with like contractual things. I am just going to be away with youth soccer. So if I have the opportunity to catch the games, I will do a podcast. If I don't, I can't. But I'll let everybody know. Stay tuned. That's why you subscribe to these things. Follow me on Twitter at @AGoldFan. And until Monday night after the Hurricanes win their third in a row in Philadelphia, I am Adam. Thank you very much for hanging out. Good day, mate. Sorry.